joining me. Now I gotta always make sure, I always ask, I always say everyone's name. I got the Brian part. And it's Schulam.
It's Schulman. That's close.
Okay. Oh my God. Okay, so this show is about letting go of perfection and just jumping in and having fun. So I'm going to say I'm dyslexic and I have fun making up names, but all I know is that I love you and we will say it right. Schulman. I just need to know. Yes. Okay, so I'm going to share a little bit about Brian's background, but then he's going to dive in and share a lot more about himself. So Brian is one of the top 50 influencers in LinkedIn, and there's 722 million users in LinkedIn. And Brian was one of the very first ones to start green screen and videoing on LinkedIn. I'm going to read some of this and then he's going to fill in some more. So Forbes featured entrepreneur and LinkedIn's top voice. Brian is the founder and CEO of Voice Your Vibe. He does a show twice a week. That's so much fun, again, with people from all over the world. He serves on a number of boards and is a trusted advisor and mentor to founders and companies across the world. Named 2019 LinkedIn Video Creator of the Year and 2020's top 50 most impactful people on LinkedIn, and I can see why. Known as the godfather of LinkedIn video and one of the world's top video marketing experts, Brian has been on the internet since it was green screen and chat rooms and has 21 years of proven digital experience strategizing for IR 500. I don't know what that is, but it sounds pretty impressive, of proven digital marketing. I'm going to dive in because your resume or your bio or your vitae is pretty darn impressive. And look at the festive season he brought in here. I love it. So welcome, Brian.
Thank you, Michelle. Yes, it's snowing in my room right now, if you see that. So I thought I'd bring the holiday spirit and cheer to everyone now more than ever. We certainly need it.
Yes, absolutely. So Brian, tell us a bit more about your story and where, and I want we've got a chance to visit quite a bit over the last bit, and there's so many gems, but I want them to hear a bit of your story of how you got started and where you are now, which is pretty incredible.
Yeah, so it's always, and so first, I'm so honored to be with you here, my dear friend, and I love you hugely, and it's so great to be with each and every one of you today. So thank you all for joining us for such an incredible summit that Michelle has put together in this dream that she's been wanting to make a reality for such a long time. So it's so wonderful to be here with all of you. And most importantly, too, I'm look at Jay, he's got filters. I'm sending you all my love near and far, and I hope everyone is staying safe in these times that we're in. So the story starts from the very beginning, and Michelle, I kind of wanted to surprise you because I wanted to share this story through the voice of another. I think we all have ways to inspire people, and in ways that we never thought were imaginable, and to inspire people we never thought we would or could. And it's our stories that do that. So I am a proud, happy dad. Anybody who knows me on LinkedIn knows I am screaming about my monkeys, my kids all the time. And my daughter is 20. She's a sophomore in college, and my son is a senior in high school. And in my daughter's senior year in high school, she came into I'm literally starting to get emotional already. She came into my office upstairs at home and just handed me a couple just pieces of paper and didn't say anything. She just put it in my hands and she sat down next to me and just didn't say anything, which led me to understand that she wanted me to read it while she was sitting there. And so at the very top, it says 4-way speech contest essay. And it's got her name on it and her teacher and all that stuff. And this was in January of 2018. And it's entitled Live to Inspire. Now, I want you to understand that I had no idea what this was or what I was about to read. And I'm going to try and get through this without losing it because I've yet to break down. But I think it's so much more powerful coming from her voice than mine. So here we go. It's like a Christmas story. Everybody ready? Nuzzled up by the fire? All right. So this story about to be told is about an extraordinary man, now 42 years young, who accepted all the obstacles life had to throw at him. Now, I know you may be thinking that everyone has different obstacles they just overcome throughout their lifetime. So, how is he different from you and I? What makes this particular man different from you and I is the tactics he took when used to face with these obstacles. What makes him different from you and I is that he took these obstacles and used them to help make a difference and inspire others to never let life get in the way of their greatness and achievements. What makes us different from everyone else is not the obstacles life throws at us, but what we do when faced with these obstacles. Will you choose to accept defeat, or will you choose to persevere? On May 13th, 1975, a child was born at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center in Los Angeles, California. And this child was born 3 months early, weighing 1.5 pounds. And because of that, was a premature baby. During the early 80s, he was diagnosed with a neurological disorder called Tourette syndrome, which is a type of tic, twitch, involuntary repetitive movements, and vocalization disorder. And one day at camp, the counselor had to take this young boy to a payphone, tears streaming down his face, to call his mother because his neck kept constantly snapping to one side over and over and over again. He went to various doctors who performed countless medical examinations to try and find a cure for his disorder. Every doctor said the same thing. He's fine. He'll grow out of it. And one day in 5th grade, he stood up in front of his entire class and shared with them what Tourette syndrome was and what living with Tourette syndrome was like. A huge weight was lifted off his shoulders once he shared his story with his classmates, and it generated many supporters, whether they be friends, parents, or teachers. Finally, a specialist at UCLA told him that he would never be able to get rid of this disorder alone and suggested that he take a special drug called clonidine to help with his tics. Unfortunately, with this drug came horrible side effects. He made a conscious decision after a few years not to take the pills anymore and try to master his condition through focus and determination. After a while, the tics started to diminish, and for the most part, they went away. No one knows what life has in store for them. All we can do All we can do is live until we're forced to face an obstacle in which we must make a choice to either overcome or accept defeat. The Rotary four-way test demonstrates how one person can make a difference in the lives of others. With the experience this boy had to face came a life lesson. With determination, perseverance, and support from others, anything can happen. Now, 42 years young, this man chooses to use his story to make a difference in others' lives by inspiring them in times of uncertainty. He implements the Rotary's motto, service before self, by finding the light in those who cannot find it in themselves, supporting them through their tough obstacles. He helps lift people's spirits and hopes in times of hopelessness and despair. He helps turn their ideas and dreams into realities. He helps build people from the ground up in hopes that they too will one day share their stories with others. He makes a difference in this world each and every day, which inspires others to make a difference as well. Who may, wow. Who may you ask is this man? Well, he is my father. Out of all the lives he's made the biggest difference in, I believe he's made the biggest difference in mine. He inspires me never to give up on what I believe in, to always do what makes me happy, but most importantly, to always live every day as if it were the last, because we're never guaranteed a tomorrow. As Gandhi once said, be the change you wish to see in the world. making a difference in the lives of others is my dad's change. What will be yours?
Wow.
Sorry, guys.
Brian, like honestly, you are an incredible gift, and getting that from your daughter, like honestly, one of my favorite quotes is, "We know not yet the significance of our actions." And when we see that with the people around us most, when we can go through the day and not even realize, but when we get a chance to actually sit down and reflect on, you know, why we're here. We don't have to get that philosophical, but why we're here. It's to connect and to be on purpose. And when you see that ripple effect in the ones that are closest to your children, to have those words from your daughter, what a gift. That's so incredible.
Yeah,
And
we had both had a really good cry together and hugged it out. And yeah, I never knew that she felt that way. And it was such a just, I mean, anyone who's a parent can relate. I mean, what a gift to get from one of your kids, and at an age where, you
yeah,
know, they're usually doing their own thing, and you know, so yeah, it's interesting, Michelle, because I get a question a lot, especially on LinkedIn, because that's where I live every day for the last 17 years. And it's like, how are you so positive all the time? Because, you know, Michelle, you've been on my live show, my LinkedIn live shows, and it's all about radiating positive vibes. And I try to help people explain, you know, we all go through so much in life. You know, we just don't always see it and hear about it. And we make a choice in how we want to show up. And, you know, having, now that you understand the story, right, just gone through what I did and fighting for every breath to make it into the world, and, you know, literally, and being born such a premature baby, and then being diagnosed with a neurological disorder. I was always the weird kid and the small kid, and I still am. But I own that, and I love that. And that's, you know, I wanted to give out the opposite of the negative I had received, you know, and by others around me. And don't get me wrong, I mean, I had a ton of positivity in my life and around me, but I think sometimes we can all relate to the fact that one negative can overshadow a river of positivity. And but I had this switch kind of in my head, and it was right around high school, actually, myself. And I wanted to be a giver of good and positivity and love and light and strength and encouragement. And I realized that, you know, life is 10% what happens to me and 90% how I decide to react to it. And as I shared, I mean, I certainly know every breath I take is a gift. And I always share this too with people because it's so important. And I know you can relate to this too, Michelle. You know, I know that I've failed so much more than I've succeeded in life and in business, and um, that I've learned from every one of those steps that I've taken, and I've gotten up every time I've fallen, whatever scenario it is, and dusted myself off and kept going. And that's why, you know, I've succeeded, no matter what the outcome is. And honestly, why I went to a place, you know, and you see LinkedIn all over the place here, they're not paying me for that. It's because how it's affected me, and it's because of the people, right? And 17 years ago, it was not about business, it was a purpose. My purpose was to give out good to the universe. I just didn't know how I was going to be able to do it. But no matter what was going on in my life, and no matter how bad my day was, and no matter what was going on, you know, because there's always struggles, I wanted to still give out the good, because no matter what we're going through, there's always good inside of us. And by giving that out, you know, it affects you subconsciously. And my why has always been to inspire one person a day, which is kind of fitting for this summit. So, you know, if I always say, if I can inspire one person to chase after their dreams, and just, you know and feel and believe that they can accomplish anything, or get up one more time, like I said before, after you've fallen 50 or 50,000 times, and believe in yourself that you can get back up, and that you can go again, and that you are succeeding, whether you're, because we're always looking at the mountain way off in the distance, right? Or in your case, the pool that never ends, or, you know, and going, okay, that's where I want to be, but not realizing that every stroke and every step and every, you know, breath is succeeding, because you're moving forward, right? You're moving is really the key. But knowing that regardless of achieving the quote unquote goal that you are succeeding, or like you do, Michelle, inspire someone to inspire someone else, or just put a smile on somebody's face when we don't have one, especially in these times that we're in, or make somebody laugh. God, we need to laugh now more than ever. We haven't had anything to laugh about in so long. Or just make someone feel good about themselves. When they just don't. And I certainly have had those moments over the last 9 months too. Any one of those things, Michelle, like for one person, I have done my part as a human being to make the world a better place. And look, life has and is and will continue to knock me down, just like it has all of us. And we'll keep getting up and doing our thing. And I'll share one more thing with you too. My mom showed me a picture. I never knew this. She showed me a picture of me sitting on her lap as a baby in what was apparently my first Halloween costume. And it was a lion costume, like full body, like lion. She made it. And I'm like, why a lion costume? Use like a pea pod or, something. And I'll never forget this. She said, because you're a fighter.
Yes.
Because you literally fought for every breath to make it into this world. Oh. So I don't know. I just want everyone to know that they matter, and to not give up, and to not lose hope, and to know that we're all in this together, and we're going to get through it together one way or the other. We always do. And that we're better together and stronger together. We have to be safe and be physically distant, but we're socially together. Like right now, like look what you've done, Michelle. It's incredible. So,
well, and you know what? When we start to bring more people together like this, it gets to compound. I want to read a couple of comments. Someone else said, "Weird is good," and yes, you don't want to be normal. Like that's just too.
Yes.
Too and I love what you said too about. Well, this is one of the things that I noticed is, people wearing masks, yes, to protect, but I miss the smile, like the difference that a smile can make. So it's more important now that we connect even with our eyes and smile at each other, know that we're there, just when we're wearing a mask, not looking away, but somehow really connecting now more than ever, to know that we're not alone, and to be able to have platforms like this. When you were talking about, all the journey of your strength, like to just build up that, resilience and being knocked back down. There's two stories that I would love to share. One, you took on a pretty phenomenal physical challenge you were sharing with me. And when you think, I can't, what can I do? Share what you ended up accomplishing physically, which was, I just like, oh my God, like you start off with this, and then when you do one little thing, that gives you the confidence to do the next thing, right? Uh-oh, did we freeze?
Yeah. Are you talking about the power walking?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So guys, I've been sitting here, literally here for the last 9 months, like almost exclusively. And I got really sore sitting. I had been in an exercise regimen, pretty good for a while, but this was years ago. And I hadn't exercised in such a long time. And I'm sure like all of sitting at home, literally sitting, you sit for a long time, it compresses your body. It gets hard, right? And it's not good for you. And I've had lower back issues for a bit, but it doesn't help me even more. So I just literally said, I've got to get up and moving. Like I just have to move. And ironically, Michelle, there's actually a video that was posted today by Dr. Brian is it Hartman? I think it's Hartman. And I'll try and grab it and put it in the comments because it literally is sharing this, and it's an awesome video he put together. But I'll share the story with you. So I got up and I got outside and I just started walking, literally just started walking. And it was 20 minutes, and I was doing like every 5 minutes, it was a walk, run, walk, run. And remember, I haven't done anything. So I was kind of huffing and puffing a little bit just because I hadn't been doing anything at all. And I'm like, okay, I can do this. And I did it for a couple days, and my knees basically said, yeah, stop the running part. That's not really working out for you. So I decided, okay, well, I'll pick up the pace and do more of a power walk because I'm lower to the ground. That's good. It's less impact. And so 20 minutes became 30 minutes, became an hour, became 2 hours. And I do the same route in my neighborhood. And I was doing it 5 days a week. And I'd see my neighbors and they would say, well, we see you walking all the time. Like, how many miles are you doing? And I hadn't been tracking it. I said, I don't know. Honestly, I've just been looking at the time and going, I want to do this much time. And it got me thinking. So I downloaded the Nike Runner Club app and I started to track it. And I realized I was doing 8 miles a day, 5 days a week.
Wow.
Now I started to weave in push-ups kind of as I scaled. And so I did whatever I could do. It was 5 or 10 push-ups, and then it was a little bit more. And I started to do 20. I'm like, okay, yeah, 20 is good. But then I started to do 20 push-ups every 0.6 miles. And 20 turned into 40, turned into 50, turned into 100. I'm like, okay, I can do this. And then it turned into 200. So I was doing 8 miles a day, 200 push-ups a day, 5 days a week. Now at that point, I'm sitting here going, okay, I didn't think I could even like do half of this. So I'm going to keep pushing myself. What else can I do? So I decided to take 1 day a week and go big, as I was saying. And for me, it went from 8 miles to like 10 miles, the next week to like 15 or 12 miles, and then 15 miles. And I remember being upstairs in my home office, and my son has pretty much taken over because both my kids have been digitally schooling. And we were just talking, and I said, I've got a big day tomorrow. And I said, oh, the other thing that's important is every time that I've increased those miles, I've bested that goal, usually by a mile or two.
Mhm.
So now I'm talking to my son. I'm like, I've got a big day tomorrow. And he's like, what's up? And I said, I'm going to do 20 miles. And I said, I'm going for like 500 push-ups. And he's like, how long is that going to take you? I said, I don't know. It's going to take me a while. I'm going to get out of the house at like 4:30 in the morning. And I cleared my day so that I could go for however long it takes me. Cause it wasn't about like, I wasn't trying to get, speed wise, get to a certain place as fast as I could. It was I just wanted to meet the goal. So however long it took me, I was ready for that. And I grabbed waters and placed them in spots, and just to make sure that I was hydrated. So I was good. So, but I did say to him that night, I said, how cool would it be if I actually did a marathon, like 26.4 miles? And I've never done anything like that in my life. I ran cross country in high school, but I'd never done anything like that. So I'm out, I'm moving, I'm doing my thing. I'm good pace. I'm actually besting my mile every time. And I've got my music in, thank God for Spotify. That's keeping me going. And I had like, I grabbed my wife's fanny pack. It's from Victoria's Secret. It's like bright green, like
Good.
yeah, right. Because I needed my spare battery because my phone never would have made it. And so I get to, and the other cool thing that's really cool, Michelle, is LinkedIn Stories just launched. If you're on Instagram, you know what stories are. Same kind of thing, just more a beta version. It's not as advanced, but I'm like, okay, I was part of the beta of stories, and I'm like, how cool would it be to do the first ever marathon on LinkedIn Stories? Literally just take videos along every single mile and just take everybody with me. And so I did. So I was literally tracking it the whole way on LinkedIn Stories. And I got to mile 20 and was like, okay, I'm gonna do this. And I remember taking the quick video clip and going, I'm gonna do this. I'm tired. My body is sore. It's only 6.4 more miles. And I wanted to do 600 push-ups. I'm like, I can do 100 more push-ups over the course of 6.4 miles. So let's go. And I did it. And I was blown away that I could, because I didn't think I could. And I came up with this saying during that, what was 7 hours and 20 minutes, if I recall right. And I said, if you think you can, you can. if you think you can't, you can. How? One step at a time. Literally. In my case, literally one step at a time. And that's the thing, right, Michelle, is I think we always look at these goals going, how am I ever going to get there? Because we're just thinking about it in its biggest,
Exactly.
view, versus saying, it's just like, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time,
So
one
true.
step at a time, one bite at a time. So
And
yeah.
sometimes we don't even see, like, okay, so Brian, there's no way when you went on your first walk that you saw doing that many miles and 600, like you would have not even thought of it. So
No.
it's so, and this is the message that I want to get out there. It's like, it's those baby steps and you add them up and then you have no idea where they're going to lead to. I have something here with me that I don't know if I showed you this, but it's probably one of my most cherished little, because I realize that a lot of people in here don't even know who I am and my background, but I grew up in a blended family of 10 kids. We all had to learn how to swim because the earth is 2/3 water. That's what my mom said. You have to learn. I think you saw it on the video. And I was so afraid I failed my first lesson 4 times. I fell into the sport of synchronized swimming late in my life. And I was so bad. Like I was the worst one. And after the first year, I got given this. And it's the most improved trophy.
I
So
love that.
this sits on my desk because, like you, that first push up, that first thing, I would have never in a million years would have guessed that would have taken me to the top of a podium, or that would have taken you to like crazy 600 push ups and how many miles, like that's the thing. It's just taking that first step. And I love your saying, it's like, if you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you can. Like,
Yeah,
I love
and
that.
I want to share another story with you guys, because like this that I just shared just happened. I think the bigger story is, like I mentioned, I literally had no breath coming into this world, right? And I had to find that and fight for that and find that. Being a kid is hard.
Yeah.
Being a weird and small kid is even harder. I got bullied and picked on a lot. I dealt with a lot of adversity growing up, and just so you guys all have an understanding, my Tourette's, on a scale of 1 to 10, were probably about a 6 or a 7. When you talk about like 9 and 10, you're talking about physical violence and vulgarity, uncontrollable. Okay. I was somersaulting from room to room, jumping up and down. Again, the intense neck twitches, wrist flicking, multiple facial expressions, multiple auditory noises, and they would a lot of times commingle. And I would come home bawling to my mom as a little guy, going, "Why does nobody like me? And why does everybody keep making fun of me?" And I didn't get it because I didn't know I was doing it. Like there's a sense of awareness, kind of, mostly because of the pain. But I don't know what I'm doing. And my mom would take me to the bathroom, and she had this big mirror, and we'd sit down on this bench, and she'd say, "I want to show you something." This is my amazing mother. And she does every tick and twitch I was doing at that time, and then says, "All right, let her rip. Whatever you've got, just let it out." And I would, unbeknownst to me, try and suppress it. So it's kind of like a volcano waiting to explode. So I let it all out, and then she's like, "All right," and then she puts on some music and we start dancing. And so, when I stopped taking the drugs, which was, I was in 8th grade. I grew up Jewish by faith. I'm actually a Jewish Italian kid, funny enough. And I had said to her right before this big ceremony, this is like when you become a quote unquote become a man or a woman, a bar or bat mitzvah, and Hanukkah actually just started yesterday. So shout out to all you Jews out there. But I said, "I don't want to take the medicine anymore." And she said, like any concerned mother would, "Well, are you sure? There's going to be a lot of people here. I want to make sure you're okay." And apparently what I said to her was, "They all know who I am. They're all here for me, and I'm okay." And I never took the medication again. I found natural ways to calm myself, and I'm just, again, things I'm sure you can relate to, Michelle, being a gold medal Olympian. You find those ways mentally to put yourself in a different place, to push through things that you didn't think you could. And this is a common thread across people that have Tourette's, I've come to learn over the years. So music, dancing, and comedy. Now, what I didn't realize, and I do have a degree in psychology, and I got it because I wanted to better understand myself because I didn't. And I wanted to better understand other human beings because I didn't, especially with what I had gone through and the way I had, what I had experienced. And I realized, okay, music, you're really focused, right? You're in the zone. Like I explained in my example of the marathon, like you're in the zone. If I didn't have the music, I'm not sure if I could have actually pushed through that all because it got me into a very different place. And so I've been a musician my whole life. I can pretty much play every instrument with the exception of the winds, which my son is a jazz musician. He plays. My grandfather was a jazz musician. So I get the musical gift, if you will, from him. I had to learn how to read music as a kid because I was in a music academy. I had such a hard time retaining information because of the Tourette's. I was like a squirrel every, 5 seconds. But I got through it. I play all by ear.
Wow.
So that was an incredible gift. But I remember sitting in front of the piano for hours in the dark playing, and it was like I was in a different body, like just very, you know, for the lack of a better way of putting it, normal. Okay. So that was music. Dancing, my mom always said, I'm going to teach you how to dance and you're going to love me for it because all the girls are going to love you. And she was right because most boys don't like to dance. And but this is the other thing psychologically, right? We're all on the dance floor. Think about it. We're all right now on the dance floor together. Michelle's got music raving. We're all moving our arms and our bodies and our voices and our, making faces like we do. We're having a good time, right? And maybe I felt normal in a sea of people that didn't, because that's the way I was every day. So dancing was, and I've loved dancing my entire life, an incredible gift. And then comedy, I was made fun of a lot, and it wasn't just by people that didn't know me. It was by friends too. And I couldn't, it was tongue in cheek, I know there's love in that, but still. And so I figured, well, okay, if I'm going to get made fun of, I want it to be on my terms. I got really good at doing impressions. And I grew up watching a lot of different comedians and, Richard Pryor and Robin Williams and Sam Kinison and the Three Stooges. And oh my God, there's so many. And I realized something, again, psychologically, they're all physical comedians in some way or form. And I thought maybe looking back, maybe I related to them. Maybe that's why I loved them, because it was like, hey, I do that. I do that too, but not because I just decide to, right? So if you fast forward, this is the really important part. Okay. Fast forward to my very first video on LinkedIn, which was 3 years ago. I feel like it was October 31st or November 1st. And I just made my almost 900th video in 3 years on LinkedIn, and just celebrated my everyday in LinkedIn for 17 years and almost 50,000 followers, which is bigger than Fenway Park. That just blows my mind. But here's the really important part. Until I made that very first video, Michelle, I never felt fully me. And what I mean by that is I never wanted anyone to know my story. I never wanted anyone to know I was a miracle baby. I never wanted anyone to know I had Tourette's, especially in the business world, because I didn't want to be judged. I didn't want to be treated differently. But more importantly, I didn't want to miss any opportunities because I was looked at differently. And there was one time in high school that I did have a conversation. It was because I crossed a classmate going up the stairs. I remember it like it was yesterday. He did there was tons of kids everywhere, and I just happened to see him out of the corner of my eye. He did 3 different ticks, one after the other, that were different. And I knew in an instant he had Tourette's. And I went home to my mom and I said, a classmate of mine has Tourette's. I have no doubt. How can we help? Oh. And it was a hard process because, as you can imagine, when you don't know what's wrong with you, like we did, and my mom took me to all these doctors who kept saying, no, he's fine, because they didn't have an answer, to be able to say, this is what's going on, and just, prepare yourself, is a gift, right? I did mention it one time in business, early days of my career, and I've been building and growing startups for 20 years, but I didn't really have any legs to stand on. I figured, well, crap, I'll just tell my story. I'll spin it around, if you will. It's all about it, dealing with adversity, and you got grit and tenacity, and I've fallen, but I keep getting back up. I learn and grow. Give me a shot, right? Like, we all get a shot. Michelle, you got a shot to be an Olympian, right? I mean, we all get a shot in our life and our career. And so I figured, well, let's do this. So I'd share the story. I met with like 8 different hiring managers and a bunch of different people in between. And every time at the end of each one of these interviews, they all said the same thing. Well, that's a great story, but why should we hire you? And I walk out of there with my head down and my tail between my legs. I didn't get the job. And I said to myself, I'm never going to talk about this again. So now fast forward to that first LinkedIn video. Now LinkedIn video launched in 2017, June in alpha. I saw it pop up on my phone literally. And I'm sitting here going, you're out of your ever loving mind. There's no way I'm going to get on video. What if my Tourette's come out, right? And so people started showing up on video. Just so you understand, like, this was a really big deal for LinkedIn. If anyone's familiar with LinkedIn, it's a business social networking platform. And, you know, you think you got to show up in your proverbial suit and your suit speak, and that's what you do. And most people don't realize it's an engagement platform. They think it's a digital resume and a place to look for a job. But as to your point, there's actually 760 million people on LinkedIn, and you have the ability to show up and engage and post and all that great stuff, right? So anyway, video was a big deal because it changed LinkedIn forever, because it became truly human with a heartbeat for the very first time. And there were people showing up that could be my kids in age that I had never seen on the platform before, which was really inspiring. 1. 2, they were sharing stories from their heart about things that you didn't know, right? So it was all about getting honest. People were talking about speech impediments, agoraphobia, rape, like, I mean, really personal stories. And it was so inspiring, Michelle. So inspiring that I sat there and said, I want to share my story. But it took me 5 months to muster up the bravery and courage to take the leap and actually do it. I was out there supporting because that's what I love to do. I love lifting other people up and supporting other people. And when you do that, you know, others recognize that. And that's what happened. There were fellow creators that were recognizing that. And I got called out. They're like, hey, because the way videos all started was hashtag campaigns. And, you know, you'd call people out and say, hey, come jump in. Let's do this together, right? And I'm like, yeah, so here's the deal. And I had access and I didn't have access. And it was this weird thing. And in my gut, I'd be like, when it disappeared, I was like, oh no. And then it would come back and I was like, oh no, I can't do that. And so I was getting ready to go on a business trip for 4 days. And I had to start. And so I reached out to my dear friend, Amy Blaschka, who had been making some videos. And I'm like, Amy, I literally have no idea how to do this. Because if you guys understand, like, I was always filming my kids. I was never on the other side of the lens. I didn't even know there were apps that existed for video. Like, I was so green to all of it. And so she's like, yeah, download this app. It's really easy. Here's a quick 60-second tutorial. You can check it out and you'll be good to go. So I sat in front of my desk. My bags were packed. I was going to be in meetings for 4 days, like socially and during the day. And I said, okay, I got to do this. I don't want to let my fellow creators down. And I don't want to let myself down because I've waited 5 months to do this and I've got to do this. And the way I put it in my head, Michelle, was, okay, this is like any other startup I've helped build and grow. I have no idea what's going to happen. I have no idea where we're going to go. We could succeed or completely fall flat on our faces. What if? So that's how I got through that part. And so I made the video. I always say your first video, you'll always feel it's your worst. And I felt my first was my worst. But I literally shared my story for the first time with the world. And at that time in front of 500 million people. Wow. And all the love and support and encouragement that I got, Michelle, it literally changed my life. Because it was the first time that I didn't look at being weird and different. For me, being weird and different is a bad thing anymore. I realized that it was a gift. I realized that it was a superpower. I realized that my voice and my story was inspiring other people, not because they went through what I went through, but because they could relate to it. And that was amazing to me. And it was the first time I realized that I had a voice and that I had a story and that I mattered. And by sharing that, I was inspiring others to do the same. So when we talk about things like voicing your vibe, right? I always say everyone has a voice and a story that matters and a voice and a story that can positively affect, impact, and inspire another human being's life just by being you and sharing you and your stories. Because now more than ever in these times that we're in where we're digitally together, we can't be physically together. It's hard. Could you imagine if we didn't have this kind of technology in a pandemic like this? and not be able to communicate. I mean, we'd have phones to be able to pick up, but not be able to see one another and come together like this in this incredible summit to be able to hear and feel and listen and communicate, and like, it's amazing, right? So I shared that with you guys because video is such a powerful way for us to come together. I mean, this is such an amazing example of what you've put together, Michelle. And I never thought I'd make one video, let alone almost 900, and that it would take me literally around the world to speak and share and inspire others. And it's just, to your point, Michelle, that, you're thrown in the pool into the deep end and you don't think you can be there, and then you're thrown in again, and then you're thrown in again, and you get less and less uncomfortable about it or scared about it. And I love your little award. I can so relate to that. And because that's the most meaningful thing to you. It's like, I improved, like I got better, and I know that I have this marker, if you will, that reminds me that I'm always going to improve. I just have to show up. And that's what happened to me.
So amazing. And Brian, I just love you. And you can see how we could go on. You have such a wealth of knowledge, and you have said so many things. Like, one is us being so real with our stories now too, like being real, having real connections, and knowing that we're all not that different. We all go through challenges, and that's why so many people could relate. It's going, God, if you can be real and share that, you're inspiring me to let go of this shield of armor that I've been wearing, thinking I need to either have all my crap together or that I'm scared. And that's okay, because we all have that, right? And when we let go, look at the magic that happens. And that's not what you had set out to create. You have this intention that you want to be purposeful, but look at what you're doing in the world, and to inspire so many others to do that. And it's those baby steps. I just love it. And you know what? We're gonna have to. You might have to hop back on here, because on another show we'll have to do some improv. We've got so many things that we could do, and to have fun with what we're doing too, right? To enjoy what we're doing. So
Yes.
good.
Yes. Yes.
I
Yes.
can't believe how fast the time's gone. We're already at 45 minutes. We were going to be half an hour and have time for.
Oh my God.
I know. So here's the scoop. I know some of you.
I'll come back, Michelle.
Okay.
I'll come back at the end of the day, or when you want. I can come back at the end of the day if you want to do that, but you let me know.
Yes, and there a couple things. So two things we decided. We had a little get together with all the speakers last night, and decided we wanted to do something special, because all of you that are watching can actually get replays for this. It's like a nominal fee. A percent of that's going to go to Meals on Wheels for seniors, and for something called Seniors Connect, so that we can get technology and teaching so that they're connected with their families and loved ones. And if you get either of those packages at the end of the day, like there's two different levels you can do at the end of the day, as many of the speakers as we can are going to come back and you guys get to join us in the green room, ask them as many questions as you want, as long as they're going to stay, because you can see, like, there's just an amazing wealth of knowledge. And Brian, I am so grateful for you and the very first guest launching this whole series. I know I also asked each of our guests to bring a gift of some sort for all of our viewers. And what did you bring? I gotta pull this up here somewhere.
No, it's okay. So here is the gift, guys. I am giving you guys the opportunity to make your very first video with me. I
Yeah.
would love to make your very first LinkedIn video with you guys, and we will do it together because I know how hard it is to do. I do want you to understand it's not about business. Like, I could probably count on two hands out of 900 videos at times I've talked about business at all.
Yeah.
It's not about that. It's about your vibes, and it's about bringing that, and it's about relatability. Remember, before the job, the role, the title, the company, we're all humans with a heartbeat. We all have so much in common already. So it's just unpacking all of that. And it's all about having fun, like Michelle said. So that's one. The other is, I do have another gift for you. Each and every one of you that has joined us today. Yes, I love that. I love the fun. I love the funness. Each and every one of you that has joined us today, as well as tomorrow over the course of the 2-day summit, is welcome to be a guest on either of my 2 weekly LinkedIn live shows. So And it's so much fun, you guys. It is all about fun. You don't have to be worried. It's not like this, and I mean that in a really good way. It's like, and Michelle knows, she's been on.
Yeah.
So it's about having fun. It's about dancing. It's about sharing good. It's about sharing gratitude. We have a good time together. We use lots of fun filters like I'm using right now. And look, you'll walk away feeling better. And that is what it's all about. So I'm so happy to be able to share that and to give that to you guys. And I really look forward to it. Please take the opportunity. I can only imagine how many of you out there is sitting there like, I didn't go, I'm not getting on video. I don't care if you're 20 or if you're 70. Okay. Because I've worked with people across the whole spectrum, and it doesn't matter how old you are. The reality is we're all scared about something.
Yeah.
So don't worry, you're not alone. I've been through everything you could possibly think about in your head, and we'll get through it together. But it's all going to be good. I want to give a shout out to, is it JC? Is it Jackie?
Jackie.
It's Jackie. I'm just playing.
I love your filters. Jackie's got filters on. I love that she's messing with these. So there's actually some cool filters here in Zoom, you guys, that you can play with.
I've been sort of having fun just because I've started to use video too, and I've discovered so much for my teaching. So I saw you, I thought.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, Michelle, I'm going to stop talking because I know you have to keep going, but I just want to share this last thing with you. I'm so honored to be with each and every one of you today. I am sending you all of my love, my prayers, and stay safe and know that we're going to get through this. We'll get through it together, and just know that, you know, while we're physically distant, we're socially together, and incredible things happen when we come together, like this amazing summit Michelle has put together. So Michelle, I'm sending you so much love. Thank you so much for all you have done for so many and making this available to the world for free. You know, we need this so much right now, and all of the amazing speakers to come over the next day, today and tomorrow. You're going to be just enamored by their stories. Your hearts are going to be lifted, and your courage is going to be lifted because of it. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Brian. And I will see you later today. Thanks for kicking off the show. Love you so much. And yes, remember, it's all about the big FU, and have fun with what we're doing.